This is part 3 of a video response to a Getting to Know You tag from Martina Hapatova. I answer questions about the most and least viewed videos on my channel, The.Meri.Atelier, items I tend to buy the most of when I stock up on craft supplies, favorite non-craft stores I shop at, and the arts I wish I could do but don't. And of course, I go off into my little rabbit trail stories these questions remind me of as I'm chatting with you. Enjoy! Tag Chat Part 3. Question number 8. The most viewed YouTube video, hands down, surprises me because like this video, I chat. I chatter. I talk on and on and on for close to an hour about an Art for Me Faces journal that I did out on my patio last summer. I wanted just to go out there and sit and relax, and I had my smartphone with me, and I went to Wiki and I looked up royalty-free, copyright-free photos of historical figures. And I sat out there on my patio and I sketched those faces. And that journal is still not completely finished. I've done more in it, but it's not completely finished. But I put it up on YouTube and I wrote quotes from those historical people on the pages. You can see it if you go back and look through all my videos. That thing, I would not say it went viral. It did not go viral in any sense of the word. But that video has way outpaced any of my other videos. Now why? I asked myself why. Was what I was talking about, was it really that interesting? Did people really enjoy my thoughts about those portraits that much? Or did it, I allowed it to be embedded. I did not have, the little check mark that said don't embed this when you upload your videos. So maybe it got off on some popular site, but the comments that I get in it seem legitimate. I don't get any rude comments. I don't get any weird comments on it. I don't get anything that would make me question that people are slamming it in any sense of the word. It seems all legitimate to me. But why would that video I probably get 200 or 300 times the number of hits on that video. And I thought, well, maybe people like to see faces that are drawn, see portraits. So I tried another video that was sketching, and it was just a flip through of more faces, and it doesn't get near the number of hits. So I think somehow somebody found that video, and I think it's got linked onto another site. But that's the most viewed video on my channel. And thank you everybody for watching it. I wish that I could get that number of hits on all my videos that I put up. The least viewed videos kind of disappoint me because I would think that maybe it would be something that, something that well, to be honest with you, I would think that maybe it would be, I did a show and tell of a CD, an altered CD. And it was, it was a good video. I enjoyed the video, but, it wasn't anything wrong with the video. But it probably, and I would have to go back and look. I really don't look at the number of hits that much unless they're outrageous like my Art for Me portraits were. But, the videos that do not do as well, and I think it could be because I was still getting connected within the YouTube art community, so maybe people just have not found them yet. But my art behind the steering wheel watercolors, I thoroughly enjoy those. Maybe people just aren't interested in watching somebody watercolor a local scene. But those don't have the same number of hits that my more recent videos have. So I'm going to try some more art behind the steering wheel when the weather is starting to warm up, and see if maybe put them in a playlist see if maybe I can't redirect some of that, because I don't think it's the fault of the videos. I think that maybe they just came in a time when, people, well, I did them last summer. People were out on their own vacations. um, Question number 10 was your biggest crafty mishap, and I'm not gonna tell you because it was totally embarrassing, and it was when I was younger, and I learned an important lesson, a valuable lesson on it. So we just will not talk about that. It was a mishap. It was a mistake. It was something that, if I would have had a little bit more smarts, I would have done it entirely differently. So I'm not going to tell you that because it just does not need to be rehashed. But I will tell you that I am doing a video of bloopers. I'm saving some of my bloopers as I work in my workshop, and you'll see some of those. Some of them are quite funny, and I can laugh at those. So I'm not going to tell you those either, but I am going to share one with you. And I wouldn't call this a mishap. Here again, it's something that I learned from. And this was when I was younger too. I was in high school, and we had these college days where, not college days, high school contest type days. I don't even know what they called them back then. I was in high school. It's probably a junior or a senior. And I represented our high school in the art class, because I was in a small school, and probably, the most well-known person who could draw. Whether my art was that beautiful back then or not is another story. But so we went off. Our high school counselor drove drove us to another local high school. I was very shy and timid back then. And I sat there, and what was the other thing? I participated in a speech class because I had to. Extemporaneous speech, by the way, which was even harder because you have to talk extemporaneous, and you have to talk about a topic that you know nothing about right off the bat. Did I talk about that? No, I may not. I know I did some extemporaneous speeches. I think I did. And I think my topic that I was giving was, why is it harmful to smoke in high school? Can you imagine? That was the big thing when I was in high school, is whether students should smoke or not. Cigarettes, tobacco. Well, thank goodness that that's been settled. Now it's drugs. Now it's marijuana and heroin. Don't get me off on that. But the other thing that I represented my high school in was the art. And I did a drawing, and this was kind of extemporaneous too. We were students from all the surrounding high schools were led into a room, and we were told to draw something and submit our art. And I chose musical instruments. I chose a drum and a saxophone and a trumpet and all these musical instruments, and I did it abstract. But here's the blooper. I hid, when it got time to turn it in, I hid my name. I don't know if I hid it underneath the drum, or I signed it in the abstract so it would be hard to tell. And I didn't sign it on the back. I didn't follow all the rules of signing it. So the judges, or the people that evaluated the artwork in the long run, had no way of knowing unless they noticed it and ignored it and said she didn't follow the rules. She didn't put all, the name, the date, the high school, and all that on the back like she was told to. I wouldn't say I was disqualified. I mean, they didn't throw my art out, but when we were driving home, our high school counselor, who happened to be driving the school bus, had mentioned that there was a piece of art that was submitted that the judges could not tell who did it. They didn't know who did it, so they couldn't include it because they had no way of identifying who the owner of the art piece was, and it probably would have done very well. Okay. I kind of thought to myself, they saw my name. They just don't like creativity. That's what I was thinking. And here again, I was shy. I didn't say anything. I didn't even respond. I kept on with my art. It's a very different time of life for me. I had people who influenced my art and encouraged my art. Then people that are very critical of me, who, if they would have had their way, I would not have been an art student. I would have not taken painting. I would not have wasted my life like that. I would have gone into nursing. I would have been a waitress. I would have been a nurse, which were all good occupations, but back then in my naivete, I wanted to be a high school art teacher. Life takes you down different journeys. Biggest crafty mishap. That was my answer. Items that you stock up on every time you go into a craft store. It has to be craft paint. Craft paint, metallic paints. I have fallen in love with Deco Arts Metallic, Dazzling Metallics. This screen printer's ink, this gold screen printer's ink. I don't buy it every time I go into a craft store because I just discovered it, but I'm going to be looking for it more. Metallic paints, craft paints, just your 69, 79-cent bottles. Every time they go on sale, I always get as much as I can afford because I use it. I wish I could afford the more expensive paints, but I'm still not to the point to where I want to spend $12, $13, $14 for a 6-ounce or even a 4-ounce bottle of paint for my art journal. If I ever get good enough to where I'm selling art on commission and you know, asking other people to own my art, then I want the best supplies. But for now, when I go to a craft store, it's craft paint, it's markers, Sharpie markers. If I can get a package 2 for $1, I've got them. Something new on the market, if or even if it's something that I haven't tried before, if I see it and you know if I want it and if it's reasonable, I'll get it. Paper, art journal pads. If I can get them 40% off, if I can get them 2 for the price of 1, those are the type of things that I usually buy. Question 12, your favorite non-craft store to shop. Hands down have to be thrift stores. I like to go to the library. I like library sales, book sales. I'm there. Garage sales, flea markets, community flea markets. I'm so looking forward to May when the weather gets warmer and they have these community garage sales. Just love going. Even if I don't spend a lot of money, you can find things that are of interest, and you get to meet people too. Hardware stores and home improvement stores to a point. I'm not a big hardware person. Not a big wood crafter. I do like mixed media, but don't ask me to run a big bandsaw. I usually leave that up to other crafty people. Dollar Tree stores, I like the dollar stores. I'll shop there. I think the ink pen that I'm using now I think they call it an R2 ink pen. I really like it. I'm going to be buying more of them. I get them two in a pack of 2 in a package, so it's 50 cents for this ink pen, and it writes really nice. I bought ink pens. You know, you buy that well-known brand where you get 10 or 12 ink pens in a pack and you open them up and you have to scribble and scribble and scribble to get ink to come out. It's not so with these. These are well worth the price. I'll be buying more of them. They're R2 ink. R2 ink. Get them at Dollar Tree. Now the price will probably go up. Craft you wish you could do, but you don't. Two things that I wish I could do that if I probably put my mind to it, I could, but I just have so much going that I want to do what I'm happy with. But 2 things that I wish that I could do more of, and that would be knit. I'm not a knitter. I'm not a quilter. I would rather knit than quilt, but on the other hand, if I knit, I don't need another pair of socks. I don't need I crochet a lot. I really don't need another Afghan, but I like the craft. So I would like to knit more. but I probably won't because I'm so into the paper arts and the mixed media and that art journaling and this type of thing. And the other thing that I wish that I could do, that I always wanted to do ever since I was this high, that I never had the opportunity to do in my life, and it's not really a craft, it's an art. I always, ever since I was a little girl, wanted to know how to play the piano. Little story. When I was a child, I used to sit at the table and go, you know, like that, and pretend, and I'd sing along with it. My brother would go, make her stop, make her stop. And my parents back then could not afford a piano. I would go over to my childhood playmates, friends, and of course she had piano and she took piano lessons, and you know, I would ask her to teach me, and she did teach me a little tune, you know, and I could play that tune, and I could probably still play that tune today, but that's the only one. When I was in high school, I learned how to play the clarinet, but I never learned how to play the piano. I can read music. Now, whether I can read all the piano music and organ music and all that is another story. I know that today you can get like an organ or a piano keyboard that you can hook up to where, like I'm in an apartment setting, to where you could play it, and you wear earphones and only you hear it. It doesn't, other people in the community do not hear it. I've always wanted to own one of those, and maybe someday I will. I think I've seen some in my thrifting experiences. But here again, it's furniture, and I'm very mobile, and it's moving it around, and I just haven't been there. So knitting, and even though it's not a craft in the sense that we think of it, it's more of an art. I wish I could play the piano. I wish I were more musical.
Are you tired of listening to me yet? Well, part 4 will be coming up in the next video, and it will be the last one of this tagged Getting to Know You series. Look and listen at your own leisure.